about my mama. Your mama dead as Your mama dead as Go dig her up. Go dig her up.
But man, when you start talking about people's deceased parents, you crossing a line that's hard to come back from.
You not love. You rich, but you not love. Money means nothing without no one to spend it with. Your son don't love you.
This is not just rap beef. This is generational tension with gasoline poured on top. Because Boosie just stepped into the middle of the T.I., King Harris, and 50 Cent situation, and he did not tiptoe out no subtle tweets, no vague captions. Straight call-out energy. And when Boosie speaks, it doesn't sound like commentary. It sounds like warning shots. The internet froze for half a second and then exploded like someone dropped a diss track into a fireworks factory. Because when you mix T.I.'s legacy, King Harris's bold mouth, and 50 Cent's name into one pot, you don't get tea. You get turbulence. This makes reality TV look like a church bake sale. Now the question isn't just who said what. It's who crossed a line. And once crossing a line enters hip-hop discourse, things get real very fast. Buckle up. Because this isn't just drama. This is reputation chess with microphones. The situation didn't explode overnight. It simmered. It built quietly through clips, commentary, and reactions that started bouncing around social media like a loose spark in a dry forest. When comments tied to 50 Cent began circulating, the tone of the timeline shifted instantly. Some people laughed. Some people side-eyed. Others said, yeah, this might get messy. T.I. and King Harris have never exactly been quiet personalities. Confidence runs in that family like Wi-Fi. And when bold commentary meets a name like 50 Cent, the internet doesn't treat it casually. It treats it like a loaded headline waiting to detonate. Now here's where things get layered. 50 Cent isn't just another artist. He's a master of online warfare. He's built a reputation off strategic trolling, calculated responses, and turning tension into viral moments. So when his name enters the chat, people don't just react. They anticipate. The reactions began stacking up fast. Clips were reposted with dramatic captions. Blogs framed the moment as controversial. Comment sections turned into mini courtrooms. Was it humor? Was it disrespect? Or was it just another round of rap bravado taken too far? And that's when Boosie stepped in. Not subtly, not vaguely, directly. I made it clear he thought the situation crossed a line. His tone wasn't playful. It wasn't joking energy. It was firm, almost protective. The kind of tone that says, no, we're not doing that. In hip-hop culture, lines exist even if they aren't written down. There's a code, a hierarchy, an understanding about what's off limits, especially when it comes to personal matters. Whether the comments were meant as jokes or jabs, perception quickly turned serious. The internet latched onto Boosie's response immediately. Supporters praised him for defending what they called rap principles. Critics accused him of escalating something that could have stayed light. But either way, nobody ignored it. T.I.'s legacy adds weight to the conversation. He's a veteran, a voice that's been respected in the game for years. So when he's pulled into controversy, it doesn't feel small. It feels symbolic. It feels generational. King Harris's outspoken style fuels the fire even more. He's young, confident, and unfiltered. Some fans love that boldness. Others think it invites unnecessary smoke. And when generational styles clash publicly, sparks fly fast. Boosie's stance didn't sound like clout chasing. It sounded personal. He framed it as about respect, not rivalry. That framing changed the energy. It made the moment feel heavier. And once the word respect starts trending in a hip-hop debate, everything intensifies. Because respect in rap culture isn't just about words. It's about reputation. It's about lineage. It's about how your name echoes when you're not in the room. Reaction channels went into overdrive. Every influencer with a microphone had an opinion. Was Boosie defending the culture? Was he overreacting? Was this just social media amplifying something minor into something massive? Memes began circulating almost instantly. Some exaggerated the tension like it was a heavyweight boxing match waiting to happen. Others joked that this was hip-hop's version of a family Thanksgiving argument that spilled into the driveway. But beneath the humor was real debate. People were genuinely discussing boundaries. Where does comedy stop and disrespect begin? When does bravado cross into territory that feels uncomfortable? 50 Cent's looming presence kept everything unpredictable. He's known for responding strategically, often with sarcasm sharp enough to cut glass. So fans began waiting, refreshing feeds, anticipating whether he would jump in and add another twist. Boosie didn't soften his tone as reactions poured in. He stood firm. That firmness either reads as conviction or confrontation depending on perspective. And perspective is everything in viral drama. The situation evolved quickly from isolated comments to a larger conversation about generational tension in hip-hop. Older voices defending codes, younger voices pushing boundaries, social media acting as the amplifier for every misstep, and what's wild is how fast perception formed. Within hours, narratives solidified, camps were chosen, opinions hardened. The original context almost became secondary to the reaction itself. That's the nature of modern rap drama. It doesn't simmer quietly behind studio doors. It erupts publicly, multiplies digitally, and gets dissected by millions in real time. Boosie positioned himself as someone defending a line that shouldn't be crossed. Whether that line was actually crossed is still debated. But the act of drawing it publicly changed the atmosphere. Now the situation isn't just about T.I., King Harris, and 50 Cent. It's about who stands for what. It's about legacy versus boldness. It's about how quickly words can transform into cultural flashpoints, and the tension. It hasn't cooled. It's paused, suspended in anticipation. Because once lines are drawn in public, someone usually tests them. If the first wave was reaction, the second wave was pure combustion. Because once Boosie's comments started circulating, the blogs didn't just report it, they magnified it. Headlines turned sharper, captions got louder, and suddenly this wasn't a moment anymore. It was a movement across timelines. Twitter turned into a digital coliseum. One side yelling about respect in the culture, the other side calling it oversensitivity. Threads stretched longer than diss tracks, with users quoting old-school rap codes like they were constitutional law. TikTok creators jumped in next, adding dramatic music to clips and turning commentary into cinematic breakdowns. Slow zooms, thunder sound effects, text overlays reading line crossed, like we were watching a true crime documentary about rap etiquette. And here's where it gets interesting. The debate shifted from what was said to what it represented. Was this about one comment? Or was it about generational clash in hip-hop? Because when older voices and younger voices collide publicly, sparks don't just fly. They trend. Boosie's single quotes as delivery became part of the story. He didn't sound amused. He sounded firm, protective, almost like someone defending an unwritten rulebook. That tone alone gave the situation gravity. It wasn't playful back-and-forth energy. It felt serious. T.I.'s legacy amplified everything. This isn't a newcomer. This is a veteran with history, accolades, and a strong public presence. So when controversy attaches to a name like that, it doesn't stay small. It echoes. King Harris's bold persona added fuel. He's unapologetic, outspoken, and clearly comfortable stirring conversation. Some fans admire that confidence. Others see it as reckless. And that split opinion created even more digital friction. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's shadow hovered over the entire situation like suspense music in the background. Because let's be honest, when his name is involved, unpredictability follows. Fans began waiting for a post, a caption, a subtle jab that would escalate everything further. Memes exploded across platforms. Some exaggerated the tension like it was a heavyweight championship face-off. Others joked that this was hip-hop's version of a reality show reunion waiting to go off-script. Humor masked the seriousness, but the seriousness was still there. The phrase "crossed the line" became the headline everywhere. But lines are subjective. What feels like a boundary to one person feels like banter to another. And that subjectivity kept arguments spinning endlessly. Reaction channels went live almost immediately. Panel discussions formed. Debates unfolded. Some framed Boosie as defending culture. Others accused him of amplifying drama unnecessarily. Either way, engagement skyrocketed. And here's the twist. The more people talked, the more the original moment faded. The reaction became bigger than the comment itself. That's how modern controversy works. The response overshadows the trigger. The generational angle grew louder by the hour. Older fans sided with tradition. Younger fans argued that humor and boldness are part of the game now. It turned into a cultural tug-of-war between preservation and evolution. Boosie standing firm kept the temperature high. He didn't retract. He didn't soften. That consistency either reads as principled or confrontational depending on who you ask. And perception shapes reputation quickly in moments like this. Speculation about potential responses filled the air. Would T.I. address it directly? Would King Harris clap back? Would 50 Cent post something sarcastic that flips the entire narrative? Suspense became its own storyline. Even people claiming exhaustion with rap drama couldn't look away. Because layered tension is magnetic. It pulls you back in even when you pretend you're over it. The blogs framed it as a cultural debate. Social media framed it as entertainment. Fans framed it as loyalty versus humor. Everyone saw something different in the same moment. And that's the power of perception in the digital era. It doesn't matter what was intended. It matters how it was received. And the reception here was explosive. As the debate intensified, so did the polarization. Supporters doubled down. Critics grew louder. Neutral observers turned into analysts overnight. What began as commentary turned into a full-blown cultural flashpoint. And when flashpoints hit hip-hop culture, they don't fade quietly. They simmer until the next spark lands. The second wave didn't cool the situation. It expanded it. It transformed it from isolated drama into a larger conversation about respect, boundaries, and generational tension. And if the internet has proven anything, it's this. When a debate taps into deeper cultural themes, it doesn't end with a single post. It evolves. The tension now feels suspended, like a pause before the next verse drops. Because once lines are drawn publicly, someone eventually tests them. Now this is where the smoke clears and the reputations start absorbing the impact. Because viral moments don't just trend and disappear. They leave impressions. They reshape perception. And in hip-hop, perception can weigh more than platinum plaques. Boosie positioned himself as a defender of principles. Whether people agree with him or not, that image sticks. He didn't sound like he was chasing attention. He sounded like he was drawing a boundary. And when someone draws a boundary publicly, it becomes part of their identity. T.I.'s reputation isn't fragile, but it is influential. Moments like this don't erase legacy, but they do spark debate. Debate shifts how people talk about you. And how people talk about you shapes how future moments are interpreted. King Harris's persona becomes sharper under pressure. Supporters see boldness and confidence. Critics see recklessness and unnecessary escalation. Once a public image solidifies around controversy, it's hard to soften it without a deliberate pivot. 50 Cent's presence in the narrative adds unpredictability. Even without direct engagement, his name alone multiplies attention. The suspense of whether he'll respond keeps the storyline alive longer than it might otherwise last. The real shift here isn't about one comment. It's about how quickly modern rap culture escalates online. A single clip turns into a headline. A headline turns into debate. Debate turns into cultural discourse within hours. Reputations adapt in real time. Some fans double down in loyalty. Others quietly reconsider their stance. Engagement patterns shift subtly, and those shifts matter more than trending hashtags. What lingers most is the generational tension angle. Older voices speaking about respect. Younger voices pushing boundaries. Social media acting as both amplifier and referee. That tension doesn't dissolve easily because it reflects a larger shift in culture. Boosie's firm stance reinforces his brand as someone who speaks directly and without hesitation. That authenticity resonates with certain audiences deeply. It also guarantees pushback from others who view things differently. T.I.'s legacy continues, but this moment becomes a footnote in the ongoing narrative of his public image. Footnotes matter because they resurface whenever future controversy appears. Nothing disappears in the digital archive. King Harris may see this as just another viral moment. But viral moments stack, and stacked moments create patterns. Patterns influence how audiences interpret your tone, humor, and intent moving forward. The conversation around boundaries remains unresolved. What's funny to one person is offensive to another. What's playful to one generation feels disrespectful to another. And that gray area is where most modern controversy lives. The internet has a short attention span, but it has a long memory. This situation might cool publicly, but clips and reactions will resurface whenever similar tension arises. That's the nature of viral culture. What makes this saga particularly layered is that no physical confrontation occurred. This was all verbal, yet the intensity matched that of actual beef. That shows how powerful perception and commentary have become. Fans are still watching for the next move. Will someone clarify? Will someone double down? Or will silence become the strategy? In hip-hop, silence can either calm things down or make them feel more charged. The ripple effect extends beyond the individuals involved. It sparks broader discussions about respect codes, generational shifts, and how humor functions in rap culture today. That kind of debate doesn't end with one post. Boosie's line in the sand is now part of the narrative. Whether it was necessary or exaggerated depends on perspective, but it undeniably added gravity to the situation. T.I. and King Harris remain influential voices. One moment doesn't erase that. But moments like this remind everyone that public commentary comes with unpredictable consequences. The biggest takeaway isn't about who was right or wrong. It's about how quickly a cultural conversation can ignite when pride, legacy, and perception collide. In the digital age, the aftershock often lasts longer than the initial spark. The comments slow down, the memes fade, but the shift in perception lingers quietly in the background. This chapter might cool down in the headlines, but the undertone remains. The next time any of these names trend, this moment will be referenced. That's how narrative layering works. And in hip-hop, narrative is power. Because once you draw a line publicly, people remember where you stood. And when the next storm hits, those lines determine who stands beside you and who stands across from you. The explosion may have settled, but the blueprint of the fallout is etched permanently into the timeline. All right, now I need you in the comments. Like, this is a live debate stage. Was Boosie right to step in and draw that line? Or was this another case of the internet turning regular rap talk into a five-alarm fire? Because depending on where you stand, this was either defending the culture or escalating the culture. Drop your full thoughts below. Not the safe answers. Not the everybody wrong take. I want real opinions. Did something cross the line? Or is this just modern hip-hop being louder and more unapologetic than ever? And if you made it this far, you already know we don't do surface-level breakdowns here. We connect the dots. We question the angles. We unpack the ripple effects that most people scroll past. So smash that like button like it owes you money. Hit it like the algorithm just disrespected your timeline. Subscribe if you're ready for drama dissected down to the last detail. Because in this industry, tension doesn't disappear. It evolves. And when the next twist hits, and trust me, it will, you already know we'll be here breaking it down in real time. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next explosion. Rap culture moves fast, and headlines flip overnight. One post can change the entire conversation before breakfast. This isn't just gossip. This is legacy, ego, pride, and perception colliding under a spotlight. Welcome to the chaos. Welcome to the commentary. Welcome to Fame Blueprint.